serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is The Man Who Ate the Town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 146 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of March 23rd through the 29th, 2020. My name is Tim Beeman.
My name's Ray Morgan.
And we're opening the recipe box. Yeah, it's always a loud box, especially right now. We are recording, well, I am recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town in the Less Desirable Studios at the Lab at Industry Hill. Ray and our guests are not here. We are practicing social distancing. Which Ray and I do every week. Yeah,
but
yes, but we do have a guest. And if you'll notice that for us recording, we never know this because truth is we add this afterwards. But there is no music and there is no crowd noise because the restaurant, quote unquote, we record in every week is practicing social distancing too, and they don't have takeout and delivery, so no one's here. So it's just me.
It's just quiet.
Yeah, it's just quiet. So let's go ahead and bring in our guest because she has become very, very, very important to me and our cause. I say our as in hers and my cause because you may have seen or heard rumors about a certain list going around town of all the Winston-Salem, or I say all. I would say 90% of the restaurants, food service, and everything in Winston-Salem and the immediate surrounding areas. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Miss Leah Metz to our show. Woo-hoo!
Thank you.
Now it's a party.
So Leah,
thanks y'all for having me.
You and I, since Tuesday of last week, have really, I mean, I think I said in an interview yesterday, I forgot to tell you, Forsyth Magazine, they sent me some stuff, and I talked about it, and I said, we have been working anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a day on this list, collectively and separately.
And it shows.
Yeah, because we will send Facebook messages back to each other. This happened, I just heard from him or her, and I heard from this place, and sad news, this is closing for right now, and we have really, really worked hard. I know Michael Hastings has talked about it. Tim Clodfelter, who is Ask Sam at the paper, he's going to talk about it today, and we have just we have busted our asses doing this.
Yes, you have.
Well, and it's, it's all data. So it's great to realize that we're using our connector ways that we do in different ways to connect the community with all of the local eats that are out there. So it makes sense. But to spend the time, I really hadn't paid attention to it other than I know that you and I have been able to talk pretty constantly.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know we both get up fairly early, even though we are working from home. And I usually get already at it this morning doing this. And it's gotten so extensive that we've had to split the lists. So I handle A through L, right? Yeah. L. Yep. And Leah handles from M through Z. And basically what we're doing every day is going through and checking the Facebook pages, even though Facebook's not the end all be all. And some of these places forget that even in this time that they don't know how to use social media. But we go through and see if anything's changed. And if it is, we make changes accordingly to our list. And sometimes we'll come across something I added, like I don't know if I added it. Did I add the KViva? Hold on. Q.
But we are getting messages too. I get some emails and some text messages from those folks that I know as well. So some folks are reaching out to us, which is great
Oh yeah.
to have that information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the Que Viva Latin Street Grill food
Oh,
uh, that I added yesterday to both lists. And I say
sweet.
both lists, we have one list, but we have two platforms that we're working on. So um, for
Which
me,
platforms are those?
well, we both have a Google Doc spreadsheet or a Google Sheets, but I'm taking
Right.
mine and putting it into a table on my website so it keeps track that way.
And it looks so pretty too. I'm jealous.
Well, and we're getting ready. I think if things happen the way they were talked about last night, I think it's a mutual friend of all of us, Candy Villano,
Yes.
is going to help turn this into an app.
Oh,
So
nice.
so we will have it may be, I don't know how pretty it will be, but it will be. Yeah, I'm worried about worried about the aesthetic later. I'm worried about the information now. And
Functionality first.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so I want it to be accessible to everybody equally.
Mhm.
I mean, it'll still be on the web, of course, but I also want them to have it. I don't know how we're going to distribute the app. We've not figured that out yet, but all this is brand new. But
Yep.
we
It's
have, I'm looking at now, let me look at mine because mine only has two different, but we're looking at 251 restaurants right now on this list.
and
That's a
it's
lot of work.
yeah, yeah. It is, and it's important. And then it's also we've been trying to figure out where else does the list need to be. So I've shared
Mm.
it with WXII, and then I got on the Nextdoor app yesterday
Mhm.
because folks in our neighborhood use that a lot and shared it there. And so it is trying to figure out, how do we distribute this link so folks can get back to it, and where does it need to be posted at?
So
Yeah, that seems.
which neighborhood next door are you?
I'm over in Gordon Manor.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yep.
I'm closest, I guess, to the Century Point one.
Okay.
So I need to go over and share that there. I
Yeah.
live in um an
In
area
a van
that,
down by the river.
yeah, I live in a van down by the river. But the area that I live in is mostly rural and residential. There's not a whole lot of restaurants. There's a Cagney's, and then if you go over a couple streets, Peters Creek. But my actual neighborhood is more from Peters Creek backwards to Ebert or Ebert, however you like to say it. And um, so there's not a whole lot of stuff happening in that neighborhood, but people need to get out and go do this stuff. People
Right.
from all over town need to support these restaurants and get their takeouts or their delivery. A lot of them are offering DoorDash or Postmates, Uber Eats, Chow Now, Takeout Central. So, and those are all denoted on the list. So if you're wondering, okay, I don't want to really go out, I don't trust myself. So what do? A lot of them offer delivery or the service, and the service. I've noticed watching TV, because I have an extraordinary amount of time in front of a TV right now, that there are a lot of DoorDash and Takeout Central and Grubhub commercials that have started airing on TV
Yep.
that I hadn't noticed before, and I think it's just because they know, hey, this is our time to shine.
Yeah.
Well, and it is a great time to be marketing
Oh
because
yeah,
people are sitting in front of their TV or in front of Facebook, and so yeah, to be able to get the word out.
and
We
marketing
even got a
is
postcard from one of them yesterday.
okay.
So
So
yeah,
your marketing is your background, right?
yep,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm a lot about strategy right now, and so yeah, making sure you're posting, especially for establishments, post all day long. People are sitting on Facebook
Mhm.
all day long.
Yeah.
I'm getting likes on my posts from people who normally don't like things just because they're not online normally, and oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Uh, so definitely behooves you to post.
And what they'll notice is whenever they do like it, they'll see more of the stuff that they figured they liked. Whereas, why is nothing ever in my feed? Well, if you don't like anything, if you don't engage with it, it starts to be pushed away because Facebook's algorithm says, "Oh, they don't care about this. Let's move on."
Right.
I have to say, as an insider, I mean, yes, co-host of Man Who Ate the Town,
Yeah.
but as somebody looking at what you two have done over the last week, it says an awful lot about where your heart is.
Oh yeah.
That these local restaurants, and it's not the restaurant, it's the people, the owners, the staff, the cooks. You have a heart for them, and I applaud what you have done. It was a tremendous effort, and let's point out to those that may not realize this, y'all are not getting paid to do this. It's not like you're a staff reporter at XII going, well, I guess I could do this. I could put a list of restaurants together and who's offering what and what services. No, y'all are doing this just out of your heart. And I applaud that. I
Out of
really
our
do.
heart
This
and out
is-
of passion for the industry and the people that in this community.
Yeah.
Because I know that Leah and I are both, well, we're both big eaters, but we also like to imbibe in some beverages, and
A few.
and we've grown to get friends in this industry, and
what happens to them is important to you.
It certainly
and when
is.
this thing is all over, we still want these establishments to be there.
Right.
And if we're not supporting
Yeah.
them now, they're not going to be there
Yeah.
then.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
so-
and there's so many places that my wife and I go into that it's like Cheers.
yeah.
They know us. They know
Yeah.
what we like, and so that great love and customer service that they provide to us. It's like, wow. In this moment, how can I give that back? And do this and help these folks out during this time.
Yeah,
So,
because all the
yeah,
time that
it's
we
the least
spend
we
there,
can do.
the time that we spend there is joy for us. So this is our turn, like you
Yep.
said, to give our turn to give back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and some of the ones that are out there, the way they're giving back is just remarkable. I saw something this morning that Bowie Market is taking money and giving it to the staff over at Diamondback to make sure that they're being paid.
Wow.
And can we just go ahead and call Daniel out for
Yeah,
all
oh,
the
yeah.
meals that he's been giving away?
Absolutely. Daniel Butner at Carrabba's. I mean, the sacrifice of his beard alone should be mentioned.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But
He got the beard.
yeah,
That was iconic. It took him years to grow this thing, and you just if I got to get rid of it so that I can put a mask on and I can go serve people at the hospital and go work with folks that are helping our kids at the school system.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how much thought he put into whether he was going to just shave it or not, but clearly the beard was less important than the service.
I talked to him the morning he did it, and he says, in order for me to do this, I'm going to have to do some things. And I had already heard everybody say, the mask is not going to work if you have a beard and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, are you going to clip? And he says, yep. And I said, ugh. He says, it'll grow back, but I'm more worried about being able to continue to do this for others. And I'll do whatever I have to do. And he sent me, I think I was the first one, maybe outside of his wife, to see the picture of him. And it's a whole different guy.
I didn't
but,
recognize him at first.
Yeah, he's still, and that doesn't change it. He's still a cool ass dude. And he,
Oh yeah.
and he has a heart, I think, like no other in this town. And people, and I mentioned this many times, people poo-poo on the corporate restaurants a lot. And, I admit that and I do too. But this is different. This is, as he says, this is a family restaurant that so happened to get big. And the local ownership of Carrabba's, and I've talked to the marketing manager, and he said that all of them are like that, but no one is like Daniel.
He is unique.
He is so giving and so about this community. He says, and whenever I praise him for it, he says, look, I'm only doing what everybody should be doing.
Yeah.
I said, yeah,
Yeah.
but you're the
But
leader of that, and not everybody is doing it. So you need to be commended. He said, nah, I'm just doing my job. He said, it makes me feel good. So
It's
if there's
so
any
good.
selfishness for it, it's that I feel good afterwards.
Well, and he's not doing it to say, hey, look at Daniel. Everybody look at me. See how important I am. It's, hey, look at these folks who are out here giving.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all these folks who are contributing to our community. And let's all go support them. It's not about him at all.
Right.
It's never been about
yeah.
him. And that's, people can tell that difference. We see his heart because he puts it out there for everyone to see. And
Yeah.
yes, he is a shining example and an inspiration to the rest of us to say, all right, so there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but does that mean that bad stuff has to continue, or can we promote something that's positive? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Right. It
I'm
does give
impressed by him.
yeah,
Go ahead.
it does give some hope too. You
Yes.
know, in everything I'm constantly watching the news, and it's so just depressing. And so to
Hmm.
see these moments where establishments are going out of their way, and even though they're hurting, uh, they're stepping up and they're helping
Yeah.
in extraordinary ways, and it gives me hope that yeah, we're all good people, and good people are doing great things, even when they're having a hard time with this themselves. So it is amazing to see how many restaurants have just stepped up, and they've had to change
Oh, yeah.
some of their models, but
Hmm.
they're going after it. The deliveries, I see a couple of restaurants are doing deliveries over to the hospitals,
Yep.
and I'm like, wow,
I saw the
that's
Grecian Corner
incredible.
was doing that today, so we're still doing
Yep.
that. And I know they're taking a few days off. I think at Spring Street or Spruce Street Grill or Garden and Craft Tavern. But I know Georgia, one of the owners, she and her boyfriend Alex own it together, and she is a nurse at one of the hospitals, and I know they were doing 50% off for all what they were calling the first responders, because in this case it's not the police and the firemen as much as it is the doctors and nurses and hospital staff, the people checking people in, the
Yeah.
triage people. So um, those people are, they need to be fed too.
Hmm.
They have to stay fed to stay awake to help the people who need it. And we are
Yes.
Yep.
lucky. We are in a location that has a relatively minor number of cases. I mean, one case too many. Um, but
Hmm.
um, but still, it's probably going to get worse because the testing is just really starting to kick in. But these,
Yeah.
even if we go to a stay-at-home order, that does not affect the takeout restaurants. They are still considered an essential service, so that's good news.
I
Um,
saw one restaurant up here in the Mount Airy community that they said point blank, we're going to add a 20% gratuity to every order because we're still trying to support our staff.
sure, and
And I
there
thought,
are,
you know what? What a beautiful thing. I don't mind the
Yeah.
gratuity in that scenario.
yeah,
I don't mind that I came up and picked it up at the curb and came home with it.
yeah,
You're
Yeah.
supporting your staff. And I love that they were thinking that way.
yeah. And I want to add that even if places do that, understand that they're not trying to get a money grab in this. I
Mm-mm.
mean, they're scared
No.
to death about their businesses. I understand that, but they're more scared about their employees. And even if they add a 20% gratuity, if you're able, I'm not saying you absolutely have to, but if you're able, add to that
Pay
20%.
more.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're able, I mean, if you are in need, you want people to help when they can. And these people are working hard to make sure that you keep at least some semblance of your lifestyle, even in
Mhm.
this time. So I guess we need to talk about where they can find this list. I know yours is in a Google Doc, Leah, and it's hard to just give an address for it.
Right.
But I believe where would you say to go to pick yours? I mean, again,
Um,
they're the same list, so it doesn't matter. But
right. Let me keep chatting, and let me pull up that tiny URL.
okay,
Um, and I'll share that.
Okay. Well, with mine for right now, the best place would be go to themanwhoatethetown.com. And then the page itself, it's on its own page right now. You can look on the menu on the side and find the page that says Winston-Salem Restaurants Bar, Restaurant Food Beverage Community, but the actual page number, if it comes up, my computer's acting slow, is WSNC Food Community. So themanwhoatethetown.com/WSNC Food Community. And I know I've had a couple of people from Greensboro saying this place is open too. This place is open too, and I'm not including it, and not because I'm being exclusive, but because the man who ate the town is Winston-Salem. Now I will count Kernersville and Clemens because really that's when people go other places and they say, "Where are you from?" "Oh, I'm from Winston," even if they live in Clemens and Kernersville.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I'm including those things, but yeah, manwhoatethetown.com/WSNC Food Community. And Leah, do you have yours?
Yeah. So you can either head over to the Winston-Salem Journal. They've got a link there as well, but it's tinyurl.com. And of course it's that / and then it's V as in Victor, Y as in yellow, 85, R as in red, 4, and Z as in zebra. I'll try and
So that's intuitive.
I'll try and put it up on a website that I've got too, but certainly it's being shared all kinds of places, all over Facebook.
Yeah.
And it is just a plain Jane Google Doc. So Tim's is prettier than mine. So, but we're both sharing that doc and updating it regularly on both of ours. Just trying to divide and conquer on that. So you can't go wrong with either place.
Right, because if one thing changes, there's a message between the two of us and says, "Hey, I changed this." Sometimes if it's me, I'll just go on and change it on her page first and then tell her about it. But if she tells me, I go and change it on mine and the website too. I do want to say I think it's funny. Michael Hastings, who I consider a friend and I love him dearly.
Mm-hmm.
But Wednesday, I think it was, I sent him a message just saying, "Michael, you can share this list if you want to." He says, "There's another list out there." I said, "Is it Leah's list?" He said, "Yeah. Did you just copy hers?" I'm like, "We're working on this together.
We're partners."
He said, "Well, I'm pretty sure hers was published first." I said, "She published a Google Doc that we're both using."
Oh my gosh.
And then I found out that the Journal was trying to charge people $99 to be included on a directory. And about later that evening, the person who told me this called me back and says, "They just called me and told me they're dropping the fee." I said, "Of course they are, because we already have given them that list for free."
Well, and I'm sure the first 50 phone calls they met were hung up on.
Yeah.
$100? You want $100?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they did say that
they're hurting.
They did say they had 4 people that agreed to it. And we have what, 200 and how many did I say?
Over 250?
Yeah, we have 250.
So to those listening, the lesson here is you can go and look at the Journal's 4 list, all 4 establishments.
Well, they're using our list now.
Yeah.
Or just pay attention to The Man Who Ate the Town, and we'll give you all that you need.
Yeah, they're using our list now, and I know a couple other places in town have been asked by other places to provide lists, and so we sent them our list so that they don't have to do the research. We've already done this.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to say it. I'm damn proud of this list.
You should be. You should both be proud of what you've done. We have put a lot of work into it, and it's been difficult, and
and intense, but I have really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because,
because again, it's coming from your heart. You're approaching this from the right perspective.
yeah,
There's nothing in this that's like grandstanding. It's not, hey, y'all look at the man who ate the town. Y'all look at what we're doing. It's
Mhm.
we're wanting to help. We
yeah,
want to get the word out and let you know your favorite places are still open. You can still order from them. And here's how you can have it delivered. If they don't use all of the services, maybe they just use this one, or maybe they're just doing curbside. All of that detail is in this. So, yeah, again, I think
Yeah.
it's doing well and people are accepting the list because you're not in this for gain. You're just in this to help.
right. At least
Yeah.
this list.
This list, yeah. Now the next list, that'll be a paid
Uh,
list.
If we do this for another town, we're going to get paid for it.
Yeah. Now, if you want to do the Greensboro list,
Well, but yeah, Leah, I think I speak for both of us. I think I've enjoyed talking with you about this. I've enjoyed working with you on it,
Definitely.
and our work's not done.
No.
We will continue to monitor every day for at least the foreseeable future for the next couple of weeks until things start leveling out, I think. But um,
Mhm.
I would
I love
like
too that you
to.
included the food trucks. That it
Well,
wasn't
yeah.
just the restaurants, but the
Yeah.
trucks were in
Well,
there too.
it's
Yeah.
not even just the restaurants. There's bars included, and there's anything that has to do with
Wineries.
food, wineries. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, bottle shops, anything that has to do with food or beverage in this town, we are including it. Catering places that are still doing takeout for like Five
Yeah.
Loaves is still doing that.
Right.
Yeah, it's really just about the food and our food service industry. The I call them the F&B because that's what the managers for restaurants, especially for like hotels and things, are called the F&B managers, food and
Food and
beverage,
beverage.
and that's what the industry we love.
That's F and B,
Yeah,
not F and B.
right. F and B. That's actually and mostly F ampersand B because that's how they're all marketed. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to see it to where we could do it where people could update their own stuff,
Yeah.
but that's in the future. We'll get to that probably because this list is not going anywhere. Even if we lose a couple of restaurants, which I hope we don't, I'm pretty sure we probably will. But if whatever's going on there, this list is going to stay available.
Yeah.
And especially if it's turned into an app, it'll be there, and it'll be the Winston-Salem directory of whatever we decide to call it. But it's in all actuality, it's the West Virginia, the Winston-Salem food and beverage directory.
WS, not WV.
That's right. That's right.
Well, and maybe part of the app is they'll have that opportunity to submit through the app an update.
Mhm.
All right. It says running out of time. We've removed the 40-minute time limit on your group meeting.
Oh,
Fantastic.
I'm gonna
Let's just
love
keep
it.
talking then.
All right.
keep talking.
Well,
Well, and
go
I,
ahead.
I have to say that so I'm getting little text messages or email messages from folks who are either sharing the list and then letting us know how much they appreciate it. And then yesterday I got teary eyed. I got a message from Hutters, and they just really were thankful for sharing the lists and them all being out there, and just wanted to say kudos and all those good things. And that does sure warm your heart
It does.
to know that the list is helping and that people are utilizing it and are going out and supporting folks. That's been a beautiful thing.
I got a message from Kim over at Diamondback, and
Okay.
she's like, I cannot tell you how much this means to us for everything that you're doing. You're helping us so much, and people are coming in. They said they've seen the list and knew we were on it, and it's just been to that. It just makes you feel good. And like I said, if there's anything selfish about it, I like feeling good. And I like feeling good when other people are happy with what I've been able to provide for them. So, and as we say it every day, Leah, we are doing good work.
Yeah.
I've got to pat us
Yeah.
on the back too, because we really have worked hard on it,
Yeah,
and we will continue
Yeah.
to do so.
for sure.
Anything
Oh,
else you have to
definitely.
say on the list before we move on to some holidays in history?
Sure. I am working on loading this onto my website.
Okay.
So I'll put the link up there, but it's my website is metstrategy.com. And I'll have that list up here shortly.
Okay.
And how do you
But
spell
folks,
that?
METZSTRATEGY.
Okay.
.com.
And I'll add the link in there.
Okay, and I'll make sure that I put
Wonderful.
that on the show notes as well for this podcast.
Well, and I guess the only other thing we want to say is if there's a restaurant listening that needs their information included or updated, contact the man who ate the town, and we'll take care of it from there.
Yeah, so it's
Yep.
Leah R. Metz at Gmail and Tim at themanwhoatethetown.com. So either one of us, like I said, nothing happens with this list without us talking about it. So either one of us is perfectly capable of handling any requests or changes or kudos. We take those too. All right, so let's do some food holidays. Try to go through these kind of quick. Today is the 23rd of March, and it's National Chip and Dip Day.
Mm,
I like
Okay.
chips and dip.
almost sounds like it could be Mexican restaurant day then.
It does. You know, and there are places, I'm sure, if you look at your list, that has, you can get the salsa to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's
They'd be happy
also,
to send it to you.
it's also, for whatever reason, National Melba Toast Day.
Ugh, really?
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever had Melba toast. I don't
I
know
did when
that-
my little brother and sister were babies. I tasted it. It's like, ugh. It's not even a crouton. It's not, at least those have some flavor.
Yeah. No, I'll pass. Thank you. On 1806, on this day, the Lewis and Clark expedition began the journey back to St. Louis from their winter encampment near the mouth of the Columbia River in Oregon. On
Was
the 20th,
Sacagawea still with them?
I don't know. They picked her up in Virginia, didn't they?
Now you're asking more than I can remember.
That's out of your pay grade, right?
It is.
In 1880, a patent for a glass milk bottle was issued to Warren Glass Works. 1896, on the 23rd, the New York State Legislature passed Raines Law, which restricted the sales of alcohol on Sundays. However, Manhattan hotels with at least 10 rooms were allowed to sell alcohol on Sunday, accompanied by a meal or in hotel bedrooms. Numerous saloons, of course, because we are fans of loopholes in this country, even back that far, proceeded to add small furnished rooms and applied for hotel licenses.
They rented them by the hour.
Yes. Yes. In 1912, on the 23rd, the Dixie Cup was developed by Lawrence Llewellyn and Hugh Moore. Its original name was the Health Cup with a K, but changed to Dixie Cup in 1919. The name came from a line of dolls made by the Dixie Doll Company. In 1923, on the 23rd, in Scotland, Cutty Sark Scotch whiskey was created by Berry Brothers and Rudd Wine and Spirit Merchants. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Scotch whiskey, but I do not know that I've ever had Cutty Sark.
I have. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, it's named after a boat.
Yeah.
So, Leah, have you had Cutty Sark?
No, I have not.
Are you a Scotch drinker?
Well, anything with alcohol in
Yeah,
it
that's right.
is pretty good in my mind.
See, that's another reason we get along so well, because I told her yesterday, I said, my favorite flavor alcohol is alcohol. So,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ditto.
In 1965, on the 23rd, astronaut John Young smuggled a corned beef sandwich aboard the first Gemini spacecraft flight. It's
Okay,
going to be a
corned
long
beef in
ride,
space.
y'all. It's going to be a long ride. I'm going to take my corned beef with me.
Better have a sandwich.
They called him while he was eating. He's like, wait, I'm not done. So he just took it with him. Also on that same date, 1965, the International House of Pancakes trademark was registered. So today is IHOP's birthday. It's not on our list because we decided that outside of select ones, chains are not getting all that much love on our page. And IHOP
We're trying to
is
support the local restaurant.
Yeah. IHOP
Yeah.
is open for takeout. I can say it here. I'm just not putting it on my list. In 1981, on the 23rd, the UK bans all animal transport on the Isle of Wight in southern Hampshire in an attempt to contain a new outbreak of the foot and mouth disease.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's some people who've definitely got that foot and mouth disease going on right now.
That's foot in mouth disease.
Right. In more ways than one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Y'all keep that mouth shut.
Yeah, Trump. On the 24th,
Did he just say that out loud?
I did.
I think it's slipped.
I'm doing the hand over face.
Yeah.
It's on the 24th is National Agriculture Day. It's actually just called Ag Day. It's also National Cheesesteak Day, which I love cheesesteaks. Big Mouth is out there. Check out their Instagram page, Big Mouth Cheesesteaks. And for you, Ray, it's National Chocolate Covered Raisins Day.
Yes. Chocolate anything.
Ray likes chocolate everything, so it's like his wonder food. And
you should have a daily dose of chocolate. It is important. It's part of a well-balanced diet.
Well, to go along with that, today is also the American Diabetes Association Alert Day, which is always the fourth Tuesday in March.
There you go.
On the 24th in 1765, the British Parliament passed the Quartering Act, which required American colonists to provide temporary quarters, food and drink, and so on to British troops stationed in their towns. And
that went over well.
Yeah. It didn't last very long. In 1914, on the 24th, Stephen F. Whitman registered the trademark for Whitman's Samplers, Chocolates, and Confections, not confessions. When I was a kid,
maybe it should be confessions.
Yeah.
I
only ate one box.
It could get very deep. You're right, Leia. When I was a kid, I always wanted to know, okay, well, I sampled it. Where can I buy all of the ones that I want, like the orange cream or the nougat one, but all of them were just samplers. I'm like, well, I know they're making batches of them. Why can't I just get like all orange cream ones?
Because there'd be a bunch I'd cut out and just said, no, I don't want those.
Yeah. On the 24th of 1955, the first seagoing oil drilling rig went into service for drilling in water over 100 feet deep. Speaking of oil, this is a day that I know Ray hates to talk about, and he still boycotts a certain gas company because of it. And on the 24th, the worst oil spill in U.S. history occurred as the Exxon Valdez, or Valdez, whichever one you call it, ran aground in Alaska's Prince William Sound and eventually leaked 11 million gallons of crude oil. The effects on wildlife and fish was and still is devastating.
Wow.
Yep. And I still, to this day, am boycotting Exxon. If they had done a better job of just owning up to what happened and trying to clean it up, accidents happen. We recognize this. But they didn't take responsibility. They tried to pass that off and just devastate the environment. Nope, I'm not going to support a company like that.
Whereas BP, who had the big spill or the pipeline accident in the Gulf, owned it. They spent their money to fix it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they were trying to clean up the beaches all up and down the Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
You know, it ended up being an enormous problem. They couldn't do everything, but they took responsibility for it and did their very best.
Yep.
Okay, I can work with that.
Yeah. Still not happy about it, but we can work with it.
Right.
Yeah.
The 25th of March is Whole Grain Sampling Day, which is always the last Wednesday in March.
I don't know that I really want to sample a whole grain unless it's been prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
Shredded wheat and stuff like that. Stephanie says that's her favorite cereal, and I'm like, ugh, it's like eating hay. She said, I like the
once you put
frosted
sugar
ones.
on it, it's good.
I like the frosted ones. I said, well, just have a bowl of sugar. To eat the hay with
you don't get the roughage from the wheat.
You're gross. All right, so on the 25th also is Lobster Newburgh Day.
Oh.
Yeah, lobster, just about anything I'm a fan of. So what constitutes Lobster Newburgh? It's an American seafood dish made from lobster butter, cream, cognac, sherry, eggs, and cayenne pepper. So lots of alcohol and other spices with lobster. Yes, please. I'll take it.
And cream and butter.
So it's kind of like a drunken lobster is probably what the name of that should be called.
It should be. And I'm sure all the alcohol burns off whenever they're cooking it, which that's a misnomer. It really does not all burn off. A good bit of it does, but not all of it. But still, I like drunken lobster better than Lobster Newburgh. It sounds better.
Yeah.
It's also, according to where you are and how you pronounce it, either pecan, or pecan day, which is not to be confused with National Pecan Day, which is April 14th. I don't know why they have to have two different ones. In 17,
they have a day for just their pie too. So let's just say
that's
they're being a little greedy about days.
Yeah, where is it? Is it Georgia or South Carolina that's big on the pecans? Is it South Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Georgia.
Okay. In 1775, the reason this is Pecan Day here is in 1775, George Washington planted pecan trees, some of which still survive at Mount Vernon. The trees were supposedly a gift to Washington from Thomas Jefferson. So
nice.
I'm
going to give you a gift. Have a tree.
Yeah. Here you go, man. In 1867, a 2-mile-long, 5-foot diameter Chicago Lake Tunnel was activated. We talked about this last week, Ray, about it being finished. It was actually activated. It was the first water supply tunnel for a U.S. city. And it's only 1867. It seems like that's more recent than I would have thought.
Yeah, yeah.
In 1957, on the 25th, the Treaty of Rome, establishing the European Economic Community, which we now know as the EU, was signed by Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and West Germany. The treaty became effective on January the 1st the next year. One thing about this, I see in Luxembourg here, you know, Russia has 167 million people. And they have less reported cases of COVID-19 than Luxembourg.
Huh.
Wow.
Somebody's not telling the truth, or they're just all staying home and freezing because, you know, Russia right now is probably cold. So,
well, Russia has a very stellar history of telling the truth about everything that's happening in their country. So, you know, it can't be that they're suppressing the press.
That's right. That's right. And it can't be that they're not coming forth with information, because they wouldn't do that. Old Vlad wouldn't pull that off, would he?
But, you know, then again,
Trump's
maybe they're
daddy.
all just staying home and posting misinformation on Facebook. So they really haven't gone out and seen each other.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Who has time for that?
Yeah.
On the 25th in 1995, which again seems like it's a little bit later than I thought it was, Pizza Hut introduced the stuffed crust pizza.
95.
95. I thought that was late 80s.
I don't think we were stuffing things back then.
No, I guess not.
And why didn't we think of that like 200 years ago, 300 years ago?
Yeah,
Put cheese
more
in
cheese,
the crust.
more
Ooh.
cheese, more cheese.
Let's take that part of the pizza that folks call the bones and they throw it away, and let's put cheese in it.
I love pizza
they'll eat
bones,
it now.
actually. On the 26th, it's National Nougat Day. I'm a fan of nougat.
Especially when it's part of a Snickers bar or a Payday bar or something like that.
Yeah. It's also National Spinach Day, and I'm a fan of spinach.
I didn't used to be, but I am now.
Yeah, as a kid, I did not like it. As an adult, it's one of my favorite green things to eat.
Oddly enough, there was a local establishment that changed my mind about spinach. Prince's on the Park.
Yes.
Their spinach focaccia pizza was just to freaking die for. Man, I miss that pizza.
I do too. Did you ever go to Prince's on the Park, Leah?
No, but I definitely, if spinach were on pizza, especially with the cheese in the crust, I would partake in more spinach.
Well, Prince's on the Park was where the Tap is now, across from West End Poke. And Mike Prince, or hence the name, who was the original owner of Burke Street Pub as well, and Chester's, owned it, and they handmade their own crusts and everything, and they actually had the spinach focaccia and the white lightning pizzas in Harris Teeter's, and when the Golden Apple was still around. And they got to the point where the building was getting dilapidated and the landlord would not fix it up, and Mike says, you know what, I'm just done here. But that was the first place that I had eaten that I ate there every day of the week. I ate there Monday through Friday. That was my place. And it was really heart-wrenching when they closed. It was awful for me. But you know, nothing lasts forever. So
that spinach pizza was just so good, marinated in spices and garlic and onion and tomato, and spread that out with lots of mozzarella on top of it. And their crust was some of the best pizza crust ever.
Yeah, they were unique because they were one of the few places in town that actually baked their chicken wings as well. It wasn't deep fried. So it was always really crispy, and it wasn't like just runny with stuff. I mean, they only had hot, extra hot, mild, and medium, but they were just so good because they weren't doused with oil. So it's really good stuff. Yeah, I still miss that. Mike Prince, if you listen to this, I miss your stuff, man. In 1937, on the 26th, the cities of, being National Spinach Day, the cities of Dilley, Texas, and Crystal City, Texas, each erected a statue of Popeye, the spinach-eating cartoon character, for whatever reason.
Nice. I can't wait to talk to Mel and let her know she loves spinach.
Yeah.
My wife. And so I'm going to give her all of these spinach details. I'm sure she'll be excited about them.
Yeah. Well, blow me down. In 1961, the Beatles performed at the Casbah Coffee Club in West Derby, Liverpool. I'm a huge Beatles fan. I like to hear that. In 2006, a ban on smoking in public places, including bars and restaurants, goes into effect in Scotland. In 2011, Wicked Whoopies and radio station WMGX teamed up to create a record-breaking 1,067-pound whoopie pie in South Portland, Maine.
What is a whoopie pie?
A whoopie pie.
I just have to ask.
Okay, so you'll like this. It's either chocolate or devil foods cake, top and bottom, filled with cream in the middle, some kind of creamy filling, and probably lard based, but still, I like that.
Don't we all?
Think of like an oatmeal pie, but it's devil's food or chocolate cake on either side of it. And so they made one that was 1,067 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Still, when people talk about that, how did they bake that? how do they have a pie or basically a cake that big? It had to have been like smaller sizes and they just stacked them beside each other. That has to be what happened.
You'd have to think, because there's no commercial oven that big.
Right. No way. And how do they measure it? Do they measure each individual piece and then put it up there? Because I know there's not a scale that's going to hold that either.
They had a mathematical algorithm that they calculated the estimated weight at 1,067 pounds.
We are in. Go ahead.
It sounds like we might need to call in an expert from Guinness to actually, explain to us how they go about doing these things. Because I personally feel a challenge
Yeah.
coming up. There's surely something that we could make.
Oh yeah.
It would be, a lot of pounds.
Let's make a whoopie pie that's a ton, 2,000 pounds.
I figure around here though, it'd have to be like a 2-ton barbecue sandwich or something.
No. We need it to be the whoopie, and then we call it a ton of whoopie.
Instead of a shit ton, it's a whoopie ton.
We could use it as a fundraiser for some nonprofit that's out there.
Yes, like Second Harvest Food Bank.
Second Harvest would be a good one. Yeah.
On the 20
Or the Shalom Project, just saying.
Or the Shalom Project.
Favorite.
Sure.
327, it's International Whiskey. That's both with and without an E day. Not to be confused with World Whiskey Day, which is third Saturday in May.
I'm glad that we have multiple whiskey holidays. I
Yes,
appreciate that.
me too.
Yeah.
I am a fan of whiskey. When I go home, probably there will be more whiskey to be had. And it's also
You're gonna make a detour on the way home.
Oh no, I've got it at home waiting. And we
okay.
we found some of the cinnamon Coke, the little bitty cans of cinnamon Coke, and that goes well with like Crown Royal, or Seagram 7 even. I like it with Seagram 7 too. So, and
I've
I had
never
it with
seen a cinnamon Coke.
Yeah, it was really out for the holidays, but Stephanie was able to find it at Harris Teeter the other day when she went shopping for her mom. It was one of the few things they actually had. So, so she said, "You're going to be excited," because I had it over the holidays, and I'm like, "Yeah!" So we have 3 of them left because I have drunk 3 of them.
That's a great spouse right there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
She takes care of her
She
man.
knows. She knows.
I could not have asked for a better one.
You could have, but you wouldn't have gotten one.
Oh, there is no such thing. They don't exist. It's also National Spanish Paella Day, which I think is a redundancy because all paella is Spanish paella. In theory, it's according to what you do with it. It might not be Spanish, but the paella itself is Spanish. It's like saying spaghetti, but not calling it Italian, or just saying Italian spaghetti. What other spaghetti is there? There's none. I know the noodles originated somewhere else, but it's not. It's still spaghetti. So you don't say Italian spaghetti. It's just spaghetti. So paella is paella, no matter what's in it. Okay, soapbox back in the corner. I will sanitize it here in a minute. So,
and we will let you stand on that soapbox by yourself. The paella box is yours.
Yeah, just feel free to put on some latex gloves and come and push me off of it. That's okay. In 1860,
we can go back to whiskey or chocolate, and we're right there with you on that.
Okay. In 1860, M.L. Byrne of New York City received a patent for a new and improved corkscrew with the T handle. I believe it's what we actually would think of probably if you're thinking of an old-time corkscrew. It's the corkscrew that's inside of a wooden T handle. That's some places still use it. I've seen it. In 1912, on the 27th, First Lady Helen Taft and Viscountess Chinda, wife of Japanese ambassador, planted the first 2 cherry trees from Japan at the tidal basin of the West Potomac Park in Washington, D.C. The trees were part of a gift of 3,000 cherry trees from Mayor Yukio Ozaki of Tokyo to the city of Washington, D.C. Each year, the National Cherry Blossom Festival commemorates the 1912 gift. Last week, Ray, we talked about her planning the first one, but I think that was at the White House. This was done on the park, Potomac Park, West Potomac Park. 1915, Mary Mallon, also known as Typhoid Mary, was arrested and quarantined at Riverside Hospital on the North Border Island in New York City until her death in 1938. She had previously been arrested and quarantined several times. Immune to the disease herself, she was a carrier of the bacillus and spread it wherever she worked as a cook. She kept returning to her occupation as a cook, even though repeatedly promising not to do so, and was responsible for major outbreaks of typhoid in New York in 1904, 1907, and 1914.
She got around.
Lock her up.
Yes, she did.
Lock her up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And
knowing that she's getting people sick, that she's killing people, she's just wandering around going, "Oh, let me cook for you."
I mean,
sure.
Even in 1914, could they not have passed around a memo or something? Don't hire her.
Yes.
I mean, just okay. So she lies and doesn't do what she's supposed to, but the restaurants keep hiring her.
She needs a big scarlet TM on her shirt right there. Typhoid Mary.
The scarlet letters.
Yeah.
On 3/28, it's National Black Forest Cake Day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good for that.
And it's also Something on a Stick Day. So think
Like jalapeno on a stick?
Yeah, on a stick.
Jalapeno on a stick.
Or a severed head. Or no, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
That's not a stick. It's
I
a
usually
pike.
put that on a
Walking Dead.
pike, but I guess that's a kite.
Corn dogs, popsicles, fudgesicles, creamsicles, marshmallows.
If you're going to roast them, like over a fire, you use a stick, don't you? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or a skewer. I'm going to call that a stick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, according if you're outside, it's probably a stick.
Yeah.
If you're like we were when we were kids, we went to a tree, broke off a stick, a branch, and used that.
Made a shard.
Hopefully, you remember to pull the leaves off first. Not always, but hopefully. In 1797, on the 28th, the first patent for a washing machine was issued to Nathaniel Briggs. It was called a scrub board or washboard. Okay.
And as the laundry lady in our house, I appreciate.
Yeah. In West Virginia, that became known as the fourth member of the Hillbilly Beatles, I think.
Yep.
In 1996, John Leonard submitted an order form along with Pepsi points and a check to Pepsi for a Harrier jump jet. The Harrier had been featured in a Pepsi commercial as one of the items that could be redeemed for points or a combination of cash and points. The Harrier jet was listed for 7 million points. Pepsi subsequently refused to send Leonard the Harrier jump jet, which actually cost $23 million. Leonard then sued, and finally a judge ruled that the Harrier jump jet had obviously been mentioned in the promotion as a joke. Still, it's false advertising.
There you go. You didn't say that this was a joke.
That's right.
You led me to believe.
It's probably stuff like that actually led to, with let's say the Liberty Mutual commercial where the guy's running down the road trying to, "Give me your hand, I can help you." And he holds out, and it's a business card, and it says, "Closed road, do not actually try." Those disclaimers are there because some dumbass did what they weren't supposed to do. That's why it says, on an iron, remove garment before ironing.
Yes. Well, a hair curler.
Yes.
Has the instructions, do not use while sleeping.
Hey.
There was some dumbass somewhere that did that, and there was a lawsuit, and they're like, "Well, you didn't say specifically in your instructions not to use it while I'm asleep."
Yeah.
So
I know it's CYA, cover your ass stuff, but I believe that disclaimers are robbing natural selection of its duty. We have too many
Yeah.
dumbass people in this country, in this world, that if we were just allow natural selection to take its chance at something, take its turn, we wouldn't have as many dumbass people.
Some people
Just-
do
just
need
my-
to be eliminated from the gene pool.
I agree. Uh-oh, a leaf might have blown by.
Oh yeah, it's there's probably two leaves out there
Okay.
because they're both barking.
Okay. I'll take the one on the left. You take the one on the right. All right. The 29th, Sunday, is National Lemon Chiffon Cake Day.
Oh,
I like lemon chiffon cake. I like lemon about everything other than Joy Liquid.
limoncello.
No, limoncello I love.
Oh man.
I remember
Oh, danger.
when I was a kid, I called my mom stupid and she washed my mouth out with Joy Liquid. So that's one thing
Oh.
that lemon that I do not like. I was like telling her to stop and bubbles were out my mouth.
Yeah, that limoncello. A friend of mine got married several years ago, and he brought this big pitcher of limoncello. I'd never had it before, didn't completely understand what I was being served.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I think I was the last one to leave because I'm like, that limoncello is really strong.
Yeah, they do say sip it, but it's so good.
Oh, I
Yeah.
have a hard time sipping anything. I can get
True.
that's why it's expensive for me to go out drinking, because they'll put an old fashioned in front of me, which is my go to drink just about everywhere, and it's like next. Because I drink everything so fast, just like I eat fast, I drink fast. I do not understand the concept of sipping at all.
Maybe you could learn to slow down a little bit.
No. I mean, I'm 49 years old. I'm pretty sure that my learning curve on that has passed. That has
You
flattened.
done set in
that
your
curve
ways.
that curve flattened a long time ago.
It's a dot right now. I'm
Yeah.
done right there. There's my dot. Finished.
See,
Knowing is half the battle. So
This is true.
That's good of you.
This is true. You know, I understand what my affliction is, and that's I cannot sip. Speaking of flattening the curve, I don't know if you guys
Wash your
saw
damn
my
hands.
post this past week, where I said, you know, growing up, I always thought it was straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the law might get them, but the one day the mountain might get them, but the law never will, right? So I
Mhm.
said, who
Yep.
knew that's really actually just straightening it, flattening the curve.
Mhm. Little Duke's action there.
Yeah. Okay. On the 29th, also in 1848, at about midnight, for the first time in recorded history, a huge upstream ice jam stopped almost all water flow over the Niagara Falls, both American and Canadian Horseshoe Falls. For 30 hours, you could actually walk out onto the riverbed below the falls.
Wow.
That's a lot of
That's
ice.
saying something.
Yep.
That's an awful lot of water that goes over those falls
Oh yeah.
in every second.
And 30 hours that it was jammed up.
Wow.
So
That's hard to picture.
yeah,
Have you ever been there? Have you ever seen it?
I have not.
Oh, it's magnificent.
Have you been there, Leah?
Yes, as a child, but definitely did not realize the magnitude
Yeah.
Mhm.
of it for sure.
It's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah. On the 29th in 1886, Coca-Cola was created by Dr. John Pemberton. And
Thank you.
86 is 99 years before 85, which 1985, in which Coke decided to get stupid and change their formula on the not on the 99th birthday, but it was right close. That was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, In 1943, on the 29th, meat, butter, and cheese rationing began in the United States due to World War II shortages. In 2004, the Republic of Ireland became the first country to ban smoking in all enclosed workplaces, including bars and restaurants. And that's all your food, holidays, and history for this week. Special thanks to James Ehler at foodreference.com for making us chuckle, roll our eyes, our mouths water, especially since we can't just readily go get what we want to eat anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks, James.
yeah. Well, the Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables podcast network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to the Less Desirables, the Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Apartment 5B, and Beeswax, Vinyl, and more. You can find all these podcasts in their latest episodes. And I forgot to mention also Sipping and See, The Art of Drinking is coming back, and Wheeler's Dog is happening right now. You can find all those podcast latest episodes on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. You'll also find social media links to each one right there as well. We'd love, whenever all this passes, that you visit our sponsors again, like Carrabba's, 587 South Stratford Road. They are still doing takeout, so call ahead for that. Washington Perkin Provision Company, 301 West 4th Street. I don't know what's going on over there. I need to check in with them.
Actually, I did see something just as early as this morning that they are still offering takeout. You can still come in and pick up. They had a number of biscuits and sandwiches that were ready for folks to just come in and grab and go.
All right. We need to add that to the list, Leah.
Yep, on it.
And the Humblebee shop, which is closed right now, she was supposed to be in Spain, and that got changed. So she went to the mountains instead, just hanging out and having fun there. 1003 Brookstown Avenue. When she opens back up, the Humblebee shop.co.
SHOPPE.co.
Right on. Keep an eye on the blog on Leah's website, which is Mets. What is it?
Metstrategy.com.
Metstrategy.com. To more about these food news and happenings around town. If you have anything to add, contact us. My email is tim@themanowaitstotown.com. Leah's is Leah R. It's Leah R. Metz @gmail.com. Or contact me on the Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter instant messages. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are Man Who Number 8 the Town. Instagram, we are Man Who Ate the Town. And now we invite you to call and leave a voicemail for the podcast. Actually, any podcast on the TLD network. You can call 336-422-6862. That's right, 336-422-NUM. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the podcast. Again, that's 422-NUM-6862.
Should be comfortably numb.
It should be. You should be comfortable in calling.
But that's a really long number, right?
Yeah, it is. That's more than 10 digits. And this is a reminder to all the listeners, and it's just good practice, not just for now, but always. Wash your damn hands. Wash with warm water and soap. It doesn't have to be antibacterial. Right now, that's probably not even good. Just real soap. Sing happy birthday. Do the Star Trek opening. Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Your favorite song, just make sure you're doing something and doing it for a little bit of time to allow the soap to do its job. All right. Well, my name is Tim.
My name's Ray.
And I'm Leah.
And we are closing the recipe box. Until next time, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Thank you for going to these restaurants that are still trying to serve its community. Continue to do that. Until all that, next time, bon appetit.
Yamas.
The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the Man Who Ate the Town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.